Hi, and welcome to Changemakers with Eleanor, the podcast where we dive into the lives and lessons of those who are making a difference. I'm your host, Eleanor Baggaley, and in each episode we bring you inspiring stories from leaders, coaches, and people who are not just dreaming of change, but making it happen. Whether they're penning their first book, working in their community, or leading a revolution in their industry, you'll get a first-hand look at how they're shaping the world. If you're looking to leave a mark or simply love a good story about modern-day heroes, you've come to the right place. Here, we're all about changing the world, whether that's one person's world or the world in general. So grab your notebook or just a comfortable seat and let's explore these fascinating journeys together. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts to ensure you never miss an episode. Let's go change the world together. So in this episode, I am delighted that I have my lovely friend, Dave Rogers, joining us. So Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what is it that you do?
Well, first of all, it's fantastic to be able to join you, Eleanor, today. For those that are watching, I'm Dave Rogers, also known as the Business Explorer. If you can't tell from my accent, I'm based down in the West Midlands, so just outside Wolverhampton. I'm a business consultant, coach, and speaker, and I help businesses and business owners ask better questions about themselves and their businesses to help them make them bigger and better and more successful.
And author, you missed author of that list.
Oh yes, yeah. It's a very long intro, so quite often I forget that I've written a couple of books as well at the same time. So yeah. As you said, written two books. The latest one was published in November last year, and it was cleverly entitled "The Business Explorer."
I wonder where that name came from.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't take a lot of thinking.
So obviously the podcast is about changemakers. So what is it that makes you a changemaker?
That's a fantastic question to start with. I think for me, it's all about taking what I've learned through my 30 years of working, before starting my own business, working in large corporate PLCs, and being able to take that out into the big wide world and helping other businesses and other organisations, and particularly the third sector and education. So outside of work, I've got two voluntary positions. One's the chair of the board of trustees at a fantastic mental health and wellbeing organisation called Kaleidoscope Plus Group, which is based down in West Bromwich in the West Midlands, but is a national charity. And I've also joined the board of one of my favourite local tourist attractions, the Dudley Canal and Tunnels Trust, which has got hundreds of millions of years of history in the limestone tunnels that run under a local UNESCO World Heritage Site called the Wren's Nest, and then also do alongside that help support schools and colleges with careers education, so helping young people and educators understand the transition paths for young people coming out of education and into the world of work.
So, well, obviously, we're charity and education are both close to my heart. So
Exactly.
that's brilliant. Yeah. What was your inspiration? I don't know, you said kind of it was about taking what you'd learned in corporate to be able to help kind of the third sector, sometimes kind of called the forgotten sector and things like that, and educate. What was your inspiration for taking that and being able to give back there?
Yeah, I think it was actually while I was still in corporate world. I worked for a local large hospitality company, and they were very good at helping the local community with their charitable foundation, but also providing employees with volunteering days, effectively, where we could go out and help with local projects. And I went out to help doing some work at a local park, and got chatting to the gentleman who was sort of in charge of the voluntary sector council in Wolverhampton, and sort of got connected to a local charity, and then it sort of just more from there. Got in contact with a couple of other people that I knew, and got introduced to the people at Kaleidoscope, and yeah, it was just one of those things that ended up sort of developing over time through my network and people that knew me and thought I'd be able to add value to their to their third sector organisations, really.
Do you find that you get more and more people kind of seeing what you're doing and then wanting a piece of you to help them as well?
Yeah, and as you know, Eleanor, and I'll appreciate this. I find it quite difficult to say no as well. So there's an element to
Yeah.
me like, yes, people see what I do and go, oh, can you come and speak? Can you come and help us? And I sort of have to go like, I'm really sorry, but I haven't physically got the time to do it whilst running your own business and all of those things, which makes me feel really really bad when I have to say that. But yeah, I mean the thing is that the way I look at it is it must show that what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to do in helping the organisations and the way some of these organisations are now flourishing. It just shows what I'm trying to do seems to be working in helping these, and other people are recognising that. So you've always got to be pleased about that. But yeah, it can be quite difficult when you've got to turn around and say I'm really sorry, but I can't help.
Yeah, especially when it is people who actually would be able to do like so many more amazing things with just that kind
Yeah,
of little bit of help. I guess that makes it all the more
yeah,
hard, doesn't
yeah.
it? Have you been on like a personal journey at all? So obviously you've helped like quite a wide variety of people, both kind of from your corporate life, your business, the
Mm.
charity stuff, the education stuff. Would you say you've been on any personal journey throughout that? And if so, kind of what is it that you've discovered?
Yeah, the answer to that question is most definitely yes. I think I certainly went into the world of work with a very, what I would describe, traditional mindset about what success would look like. So, i.e., keep getting promoted, get a good job, get a good car, go and buy a house. All of those sort of
Yeah,
material aspects that a lot of people think about
I'm also
success.
guilty of
And
that.
so,
So yeah.
yeah. And I think, and to be honest, I think most people are. I think it's natural. It's inbuilt into us, and obviously I know that you used to work in the education sector. I think with the way schooling is, it's sort of it develops that sort of chasing the material aspects of success and
Yeah.
what progress looks like, and what those sorts of things sort of and the way those manifest in life. And I think I probably spent a good 25 of my years in work thinking that way, and then the pandemic hit, and I think again, like a lot of people, I just sat there and sort of went, right, well, actually, is am I enjoying what I'm doing? What would success look like in a different aspect? And that's where I took the decision to, effectively walk away from 27 years of working in corporate life with, regular paychecks and the occasional bonus and some really nice events to go to go, do you know what, actually I'm going to go and start my own business and find a way of taking what I've learned to go and help other people with their business, and personal journeys in some instances. So
Yeah.
yeah, the pandemic was, it's a classic pandemic side hustle business, really, the way my consultancy started.
Did you feel that you had to like unlearn a lot of things then? Because obviously you're redefining what success looks like, and I know I've kind of had to do that. Well, I didn't have to do that. I actually chose to do that a bit like you. But did you feel like you then had to kind of unlearn other parts as well in order to do it, or
Yeah. I think certainly there's an element of being, for want of a better phrase, conditioned in the world of corporate business, where there's almost you don't realise till you step out of it that you've learned a different language in terms of the way you communicate about things just in general. So there was an element of going, actually, I just need to learn a new business language and a new way of communicating, and that was um, quite a challenge, to be honest, because you get used to, as I'm sure a lot of people who listen to this will, whatever walk of life you're in, you get used to a way of things being done in whatever vocation you're following, and then to take a step out of that to slightly, what most people would go, well, you're just doing the same thing. Well, I am, but I'm also not at the same time. You've got to work around that and work out, well, what does that mean from a communication point of view, where am I going to go and speak to people who would benefit from my support? How are those people going to find me, and all of those sorts of things. So yeah, it was a very interesting transition for the first probably 12, 18 months probably.
And you're wearing a lot more hats than you would do in a corporate role as well anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, you are, but I think again the benefit of I've been incredibly privileged and honoured to have worked for a number of very large businesses and a number of different business disciplines, I suppose, is the best way to describe it. And so therefore, sort of coming out of business, having learned about business to then run your own business, those hats sort of become a little bit more. Not easy to wear, but they're easier to understand, so that you can work out like where like my strengths lie and what I need to get somebody else to help me with, or what can I do, or and because I'm incredibly curious and like learning, invariably I will do some things myself to start off with, to go, actually I need to learn about it before I can hand it over to somebody else.
Yeah, I do have to say, like, obviously we catch up most weeks,
Yeah.
and it does astound me like how much you seem to like learn and go in, and it's like, how the hell do you even have time to find that information out in such a short period of time? So it does amaze me that you I think you possibly need to share some secret superpowers there that you've got going in there. But it is pretty remarkable. What would you say your vision for the future is? Obviously, you've got all of these people that you say no to, certainly kind of people the within the education sector, the future essentially that you could be helping. And the third sector, do you envisage that you're going to be able to kind of help more of those, or is it just more of kind of the same in terms of the businesses you're supporting? Where do you see yourself going in the future?
I think for me, it's always been about how can I help more people more quickly. So to enable me to say, so where I've said perhaps no to other people, or they've not been able to, we've not been able to quite make it work commercially, for example, to work together. It's, well, how can I provide the value and something to people where they've got access to it at an affordable level for wherever they're at in their business journey. So it's things like working on a business community idea that I'm doing at the moment, where it brings people together, like-minded people together, but could be at different stages of their business size, but they're quite mature businesses, but it enables them to have a different access level for a different value, to enable me to say, well, actually, you could access this information using this medium, and somebody else can access it through a different medium, and that's what the vision for me really is trying to help more people more quickly, particularly in an environment where it's becoming more and more challenging, economically, for particularly, again, the third, it's difficult for private sector and businesses, but certainly the third sector is becoming under more and more pressure, particularly those organisations like at least Kaleidoscope, where I'm involved, where it's heavily leaning on public sector funding. So it's how can I help more people more quickly negotiate those challenges that we're all going to be facing over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, really.
Yeah, and I guess kind of there's potentially even more and more need for different charities for different things. I mean, like charities are still growing, although it's harder to access kind of everything. There's more and more need for different sorts of charities as we kind of go through year by year almost as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, and I quite often find myself saying that that people always used to use the phrase like, yeah, but we you're not a charity when you're needing to charge for stuff. And I think I actually find myself saying that now about the charities that I'm involved in, because actually they are organisations that are operating as commercial entities and need to survive to provide the services, that that they do. So whether it be the uniform repurposing work that you do, or whether it be the mental health and wellbeing charity, or whether it be the historical nature of the tunnel trust that I'm involved in, or whether it be food banks, or whatever that looks like. As you say, these people that are spending huge amounts of time, and there's a lot of voluntary work involved in it as well. We need to find a way of keeping these people and these organisations funded. But as you said, it's becoming more and more difficult because their services are needed more and more because of the economic challenges and and those sorts of things. So yeah, it's not easy.
No, tell me about it. I'm well aware of that.
Yeah.
As part of, I know you said you wanted to be able to kind of reach more people and help more people. Was that part of kind of what led you to write the books as well, to kind of reach a wider demographic of people to support, or was there another reason for that?
Yeah, no. I think it was very much as you're already aware. I'd already written a book, although that was very, very heavily based around mental health and well-being and sort of emotional health, and fitted quite nicely with the work I was doing with the charity I'm involved in. And then starting the business, there was almost this. Well, actually, there's no better business card than a book that shares all of your or some of your experiences, and so it made sense for me to write a more business focused book, which is what the Business Explorer is, and just share my some of my thoughts about what I've seen over, like I say, the best part of 30 years in successful businesses, successful leaders, but also a little bit around the businesses that unfortunately I've been involved in where there's been failures or things like that, because that's equally important for everybody to hear about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you learn most from mistakes anyway, don't you? Whether it's yours or
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Do you have tips for anyone else? So if other people are kind of wanting to make a difference in whatever it is that they're doing, do you have any tips for how to get started? And I know it might be, well, just get started, but is there anything kind of specific that you can kind of help people with?
Yeah, the thing that always amazes me is there's a number of people that don't realise there's local voluntary sector like councils in every area, and to me that's how I got involved in the charity work was that, but I only got involved because I happened to bump into the person who was in charge of it at a voluntary event I was doing, and I think for me, volunteering is a great way to get out and be able to make a real difference in your local community, and that could be as simple as somebody who volunteers at a local food bank. It could be people who want to share their business experiences or other experiences through the role of a trustee, which is effectively the roles I've got with the two third sector organisations that I'm involved in. And I think it's just go out and find people, because people are looking for help, and quite often the people who are looking for help don't like asking for the help, and so therefore you've got to go and find them. And I think the voluntary sector councils I've found have been certainly down in the Midlands have been a great way of me being able to signpost people who've said to me, well, how did you get involved? I signpost everybody to those people, and then they get involved in something.
And a lot of those have, well, I know up here, some of the organisations share, I don't know whether vacancies is necessarily the right term, but like if charities are looking for volunteers or for trustees, they quite often put them on there, don't they? And I know kind of like, well, I'm involved in almost 4 charities, I guess, and trustees, bar one, well, actually, no, even that one just, it's trustees is the one thing that it's like trying to find the right trustees with the right expertise and people who are actually willing and able to give something back is major. So I hadn't actually thought about that, but that seems a really obvious way to to see what's going on in the local area and find those organisations.
And I've just appointed 6 new trustees at Kaleidoscope Plus Group in the last couple of months, and originally we thought it'd be quite challenging to find, to your point, the right type of people that we needed with the right skill sets. And we were, I was blown away by the quality of the people that have applied, almost to the point where I was, thinking, it feels a shame that we turned down some people from a role as a trustee. So I'm almost going like, well, where can I signpost them to go? Because I know there's other chairs of charities in the local area that I know that are looking for trustees, and it's almost like you start signposting people through your own recruitment processes. So it's been quite an interesting challenge.
Yeah, don't be selfish and hog them all to yourself.
Yeah, so I'll take everybody here, and then everybody else can struggle.
Do you have a favourite? Obviously, you do varied things with obviously the writing, your own business, the trustee, and all that. Do you have a favourite thing that you do amongst all of them?
I think
if it's like picking your favourite child or your favourite dog.
That's it. I was about to say that. So I was about to turn that and say, well, which one's your favourite? Which one is your favourite child, Eleanor?
I'll tell you later.
I think. Yeah. While we're not recording, I think there's an underlying thing which I enjoy, which sort of underpins everything I do, which is ultimately helping people, and finding a way of being able to make. This is going to say really grandiose, and I don't mean it to, but make their life and their businesses as best they can be. And I think that underpins all of the organisations that I volunteer with, all of the clients that I like to work with. It's all about saying, right, okay, you need help in this area, and I know that I can either help them, or, again, as you'll know, because we spend a lot of time chatting with each other, I will know somebody who will be able to help them if I'm the person who can't. And that's the bit that I think is my favourite bit about everything that I do, is being able to connect people to the right source of resource that they need to. Yeah.
I think you're one of two people who are my go-to if I need someone for something. There's you and one other person that I'm like, I'm going to ask them, because one of them will know someone who can.
I am blessed by an incredible network of connections.
But that must have come from kind of work, like that's not just happened overnight and someone's just gone, hey Dave, have all these connections. That's got to have come from work that you've put in to make those connections in the first place.
Yeah, and again, I think I've also been very privileged in the sense of the types of roles that I've done within businesses, because I think with networking, most people associate networking with, I suppose, external networking and going to networking events and things like that. And actually, there's a number of clients that have come from with my new business have actually been people that I worked with or worked for when I was in corporate life, and actually internal networking and building that network of people. Because, and again, I've been very privileged to have worked for some larger organisations in the West Midlands, so therefore there's more people to network with internally. But and the jobs that I've done have meant that I've had to work with different departments within those businesses. So all of a sudden you start building this, and then people move to different companies and do different things or start their own businesses and all of those sorts of things. And then I think that's where the network starts building. But the other thing I think has helped has actually been doing the charity element to it, because whilst I was still in corporate, I was going to external networking events, but it was more as a representative of, a charity that I was involved in, or building a network of business people who might want to help the schools and colleges with the enterprise advisor network and those sorts of things. So then when I started my own business and we're going to these networking events, I already knew most of the people, or lots of people knew me and would introduce me to people. So it sort of almost organically happened. But you're quite right. There's elements you can do to put the groundwork in to start that process.
Do you think it helped that people saw that you were kind of doing good things, giving back? And I know you said it seemed grandiose about people having the best, but I mean, I always say my mission is to change the world. So I don't think the way that you phrased it earlier, aim higher, aim higher. But do you think it did help that that people saw you kind of in this role of giving back and doing good? I don't know. I was going to say, or is it just that you are who you are because that's a part of you, and actually just genuine nice guy?
I would like to think it's a bit of both. So I've always been somebody who would, at work would. I'm the person who they'd go, "Oh, do you fancy doing this, Dave?" And I'd go, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking I've got no experience, but actually I'm just going to say yes and go off and do it. So that then lends itself to being more open to conversations, and then just being able to go, well, actually, have you thought about, doing this or this? And therefore people go, oh, actually, Dave didn't have to do that for me, but that's what I like doing is, as I said earlier, signposting people. But I also think there's an element of people looking and saying, well, actually, hold on, he's not here to talk about, his business. He's actually here to talk about something that he's actually not getting paid for, and do you know what I mean? And he's trying to promote the services of Kaleidoscope Plus Group, or get people to come and visit the 100 millions of years of history at the Canal Trust, or other organisations that I'm not even involved in, and other things. It's because for me it's about that connecting people, and I think and I would hope that's why people gravitate towards me, because they can see that. That as you say, that I'm a reasonably nice guy, and that I'll try and help if I can. So
yeah. No, I think I'd agree with you, to be fair, on that one. So tell us, kind of, if anybody who is listening or watching wants to find out more about what it is that you do, whether it's the charity side of things, whether it's the business explorer, or whatever it is, where can people find out a little bit more about you?
Yeah, so the best place to go is LinkedIn. So on there, I'm Dave Rogers, the Business Explorer. There they can find all sorts of different free resources. There's a link to my Linktree account, which again will take everybody to my other social media platforms. I've recently joined Substack as well, so writing on Substack, and I've got a weekly newsletter. Again, both of those links can be found on my Linktree account, which again, as I said, you can find through my profile on LinkedIn.
Super. And obviously we'll make sure the link to your profile goes in the show notes as well. So before we finish, can you share, and I know you wouldn't share this with me before I've asked the question, but can you share something fun or interesting about yourself? And I don't know whether I'm going to be intrigued, or don't disappoint me, Dave, on this one.
And to be honest, as when I mentioned before we started recording, I couldn't actually remember whether I'd shared this with you previously anyway.
Oh, well, if you have, you're going to have to find another one out.
Another one? I see. Yeah, okay. That could put me on the spot, so I'm hoping I haven't shared this with you before. So I actually was part of a Guinness World Record attempt, probably about, it's got to be probably 8 years ago. And I was part of a group of there must have been about somewhere around 6,000 people maybe involved, where we took part in the world's largest beer tasting at the Publican Awards in London one year.
I don't know that you have shared, or if you have, I've forgotten. But that sounds like quite a fun Guinness World Record.
Yeah, it was, apart from the fact that it only lasted 12 months, because the year after they did exactly the same thing, but they invited more people to the event. So it was that was the only disappointing thing. But I can say that I was part of an official Guinness World Record, which I don't think a lot of people can probably say.
Yeah. I was in a group one as well, as part of a side hustle that I'm involved in, and I'm also currently planning a big group one.
Okay.
I'm hoping to do next year. I'm not going to say too much now. I don't want anyone else jumping on that bandwagon.
No, you don't. No.
Yeah, I need to just get organized again, kind of as you say, just juggling a million different things and trying to find time
Yeah.
to, just organize a massive Guinness World Record attempt on that.
At the same time, exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's been an absolute delight to have you on the podcast, Dave. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
I don't think there is. Been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity to come and join you and share what I'm up to.
No, well, thank you so much. And yeah, who knows, you might make another appearance talking about some more stuff you're doing at some point. So thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Changemakers with Eleanor. I hope you're leaving as inspired as I am. If today's story has sparked something in you, remember it's never too late to start making a difference. Whether it's writing that book you've always dreamed of, stepping up in your community, or starting that campaign you're passionate about. If you enjoyed our time together, please consider giving us a rating and review on your favourite podcast platform and share this episode with someone who could use a little inspiration. Your support helps us to reach more changemakers just like you. Join me, Eleanor, in the next episode for another deep dive into the stories of those who dare to dream big. Until then, be your greatest. See you next time.